The night I finally ran, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Not from the bruises forming under my sleeves, but from dialing my mother's number over and over, praying she'd pick up. When she did, her voice was thick with sleep and irritation. "My name is Danielle, and that was the night my family chose my abuser over me. Mom, please, I need to come home." The words tumbled out between sobs. "Stefan, I can't stay here anymore." "Do you know what time it is?" She sighed that familiar, disappointed sigh. "What did you do to set him off this time?" I pressed myself further into the corner of the 24-hour diner, the fluorescent lights making everything feel surreal. The elderly waitress kept glancing my way, concern etched on her face. She'd already offered to call the police twice. "Nothing! I didn't—" My voice cracked. "He just snapped. About dinner being cold. About everything. Mom, he threw me against the wall. I think my wrist might be—" "Stop being dramatic, Danielle. Every marriage has rough patches. Your father and Dad never put you in the hospital." Silence stretched between us. Then, "I raised you stronger than this. Running away at the first sign of trouble? What will people think?" I switched tactics, desperation clawing at my throat. "Can I at least talk to Ainsley, please?" More silence, then muffled voices. My sister came on the line, her voice distant. "Danny, you're being ridiculous. Stefan called us an hour ago, worried sick. He said you had another one of your episodes." "Episodes? Ainsley, he's lying. You know me." "Do I?" The Danielle I knew wouldn't abandon her husband in the middle of the night. Stefan's been nothing but perfect. Remember how he helped Mom with the medical bills? How he's always there for family dinners? My laugh came out hollow. "Perfect in public, you mean?" "You need help, Danny, professional help. Come home, apologize to Stefan, and we can all pretend this never happened." The diner's bell chimed. A man walked in, and my heart stopped until I confirmed it wasn't Stefan. The waitress appeared at my table with fresh coffee and a quiet, "On the house, honey." "I can't go back," I whispered into the phone. "Please, I'm your sister." "And he's family too now. You made those vows, Danny. Honor them." The line went dead. I stared at my phone until the screen dimmed, then died. Texts started flooding in, from Stefan, from Mom, from family friends. Each one painted me as unstable, ungrateful, weak. Gwendolyn, Mom's best friend, sent the most cutting message. "Your poor mother is devastated. Stefan's been such a blessing to this family, and this is how you repay everyone's support? Shame on you." I looked at my reflection in the diner's window. A stranger stared back, pale, trembling, with the beginning of bruises peeking above my collar. Weak, they called me. The word echoed in my head, mixing with Stefan's voice, with Mom's disappointment, with Ainsley's dismissal. The waitress returned, slipping me a card. "My sister runs a shelter. They have people who can help." I turned the card over in my hands, something shifting inside me. The trembling stopped. In its place, a different feeling took root, something cold and hard and certain. "Thank you," I said, standing up. "But I know exactly what I need to do." I walked out into the pre-dawn darkness, my steps steady for the first time in years. They wanted to call me weak? Fine. I'd show them what real weakness looked like. The weakness of choosing appearances over truth, of enabling abuse to avoid scandal, of abandoning family to preserve reputation. Let them think they'd won. Let them believe I'd crawled back to Stefan, broken and repentant. Instead, I was going to build myself into someone they'd never see coming, someone they'd one day desperately need. And when that day came, they'd learn exactly how strong I'd become. 6 months after that night in the diner, I was juggling 2 jobs and night classes, barely keeping my head above water. The apartment I could afford was barely bigger than a closet, but it was mine, safe. No one could throw me against these walls. "You're late again," my manager at the coffee shop snapped as I rushed in. One more time and it won't happen again, I promised, tying my apron with shaking hands. The panic attacks always hit worst in the morning, when memories of Stefan were freshest. Between serving lattes and dodging my manager's glares, I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom, a text from Ainsley. Stefan's dating someone new. You should see how happy he is. My hands trembled so badly I dropped a customer's muffin. As I bent to clean it up, a woman's voice above me said, "You okay, honey?" I looked up to see a tall black woman in her 40s, watching me with knowing eyes. Her name tag read, Naomi. "I'm fine," I said automatically. "Mm-hmm? That's why you're having a panic attack behind the counter?" She leaned in, lowering her voice. "I run a support group, Tuesday nights. Here's my card." I almost threw it away, but something made me keep it. That night, after my second shift at the bookstore, I looked up the group online. The description hit like a punch to the gut. Survivors of domestic violence, breaking the cycle. Tuesday found me hovering outside the community center, nearly talking myself out of going in. Then I heard laughter, warm, genuine laughter, floating through the door. Inside, Naomi was setting up chairs in a circle. "Danielle, you came." "I'm not sure I should—" "Sit. Listen. You don't have to say a word." But I did talk. The words poured out like a broken dam. When I mentioned my family's reaction, heads nodded in understanding. "Classic enablers," Naomi said. "They're so invested in the abuser's facade they can't admit they've been fooled." After group, Naomi mentioned she taught at the local college, including a course on trauma counseling. "Really?" I tried to sound casual. "I've been taking some psychology classes." She smiled. "You thinking of becoming a therapist?" "Maybe, if I can afford it. There are scholarships. I could help you apply." Months passed. Between work, classes, and group, I barely had time to notice my family's attempts to shame me. But the messages kept coming. "Saw Stefan at church," Mom texted. "Such a shame you threw away a good man." Then Gwendolyn cornered me at the grocery store. "Oh, Danielle, did you hear? Your sister's engagement to Quentin? Such a lovely man, so much like Stefan, actually." I froze. "What?" "Oh yes, very traditional. Believes in strong family values. Says a wife should know her place." She smiled sweetly. "Everything you refuse to be." That night at group, I couldn't stop thinking about Ainsley, about patterns repeating. "You're distracted," Naomi noted afterward. "My sister's marrying someone like him. And you want to save her?" "I want to—" The truth hit me. "I want to be someone who could have saved myself." Naomi's eyes sparkled. "Now that's a therapy mission statement if I ever heard one." Months later, I saw Ainsley at a distance, shopping with her new husband Quentin. She was laughing, but something about it seemed forced. When he touched her arm, she flinched. So slightly most people wouldn't notice. But I noticed. I'd lived that flinch. "You can be very strict sometimes," I heard her say, her voice small. "Someone has to be," Quentin replied, his smile not reaching his eyes. "You're lucky to have me." I watched them leave. My sister's shoulders hunched just like mine used to be. The old me would have run after her, tried to warn her, but I knew she wouldn't listen. Not yet. Instead, I pulled out my phone and registered for another psychology course. One day, when she was ready to run, I'd be ready too. Not as her failed sister, but as someone with the power to actually help. I just had to become that person first. 3 years of grinding, studying, and barely sleeping finally paid off. I stood in my new office at the clinic, running my fingers over the freshly printed diploma. Dr. Naomi knocked on the open door, beaming. "Look at you now," she said. "Ready for your first official client?" Before I could answer, Julio, our clinic administrator, poked his head in. "She's already got a waiting list. Your online posts about breaking abuse cycles are going viral." I'd started writing anonymously about my experiences 6 months ago. Nothing fancy, just raw, honest advice about recognizing abuse patterns and finding strength to leave. The response had been overwhelming. Speaking of viral, Julio continued, there's someone here to see you, says she's been following your work. A young woman entered, hands clutching her purse like a shield. Are you the one who writes about monsters who wear nice suits? I nodded, recognizing the phrase from one of my posts. I'm Lisa, she said, voice trembling. Your words, they saved my life, made me realize I wasn't crazy, that what he was doing wasn't normal. She pulled up her sleeve, revealing familiar bruise patterns. I left last night. I didn't know where else to go. 2 hours later, Lisa had a safety plan, shelter contacts, and legal resources. As she left, she hugged me tight. Thank you for showing me what strength looks like. Strength. The word still hit differently. That evening, scrolling through social media, I saw Ainsley had posted another perfect marriage photo. Her smile looked plastic, her eyes distant. The caption read, "So blessed to have such a caring husband." Marriage goals. I clicked through to her profile, noting how her posts had grown increasingly defensive about her relationship. Don't listen to the haters. Quentin just wants what's best for me. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Your sister's hosting Thanksgiving this year. Quentin's idea. Such a thoughtful son-in-law taking charge of family traditions. You're welcome to join if you've grown up enough to apologize to Stefan. Delete. The clinic grew rapidly. My anonymous online presence attracted clients from across the state. Julio helped me maintain strict privacy protocols, crucial since many clients came from wealthy, prominent families. Another news outlet requesting an interview, Julio said one morning. They're fascinated by the mysterious therapist helping abuse victims reclaim their lives. Keep declining, I replied. Privacy matters more than publicity. Fair enough. Oh, and Dr. Naomi called. Says she's got someone you might want to help personally. The client was a corporate executive's wife, trapped in a gilded cage of abuse. As she spoke, I heard echoes of my own story, of Ainsley's current reality. Everyone thinks he's perfect, she whispered. Donations to charity, always remembers birthdays, helps old ladies cross the street. Nobody would believe. I believe you, I said firmly. Perfect public image is the abuser's favorite mask. After she left, I checked my email. A message from Gwendolyn sat unopened. Darling, you've made quite a name for yourself, haven't you? Though hiding behind anonymity seems cowardly. Your poor mother is devastated by your continued rebellion, and Ainsley could really use her big sister right now. I clicked delete, but her words about Ainsley lingered. Opening Instagram, I found my sister's latest post, a selfie with large sunglasses indoors, caption reading, "Bad migraine day, so grateful for Quentin taking care of me." Blessed. The photo made my stomach turn. I knew those migraines, knew those concealing sunglasses. My office phone rang, Julio again. Hey, got an urgent booking request. 2 women, mother and daughter, referred by their family doctor. Says it's about... He paused. Domestic situations. Names? Valerie and Ainsley. The world tilted sideways. After all these years, karma was about to come full circle. They had no idea their mysterious, sought-after therapist was the daughter and sister they'd abandoned. Book them, I said, my voice steady. First available slot. Time to show them exactly what weakness and strength really looked like. I spent the week before their appointment in a strange haze of anticipation. During a supervision session, Dr. Naomi noticed my distraction. Talk to me, she said, setting down her coffee. Something's eating at you. My mother and sister are coming in next week. They don't know it's me. She leaned forward. Are you ready for that? I've helped hundreds of women now. This should be just another, but it's not. Naomi's voice was gentle. Abuse patterns run in families, Danielle. Your sister's situation? It's probably closer to your mother's story than you know. Before I could respond, Julio burst in. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this. He handed me his tablet. On screen was a local news article. Prominent businessman Quentin accused of workplace harassment. Below was a photo of my brother-in-law, wearing his trademark camera-ready smile. 3 female employees came forward, Julio said. Claims of verbal abuse, intimidation. My phone buzzed. Gwendolyn, of course. Such horrible lies about Quentin. Your sister is devastated. If you had any family loyalty, you'd speak up for him. I blocked her number. That afternoon, during a group session, one of my clients shared something that hit home. My mother watched my father abuse me for years. Now she's shocked that I won't let her see her grandchildren. Says I'm being cruel, holding on to the past. The past holds on to us, another woman added, until we face it. After group, I found an email from my mother waiting. I know we've had our differences, but I need professional advice. A friend recommended your practice. I don't know who else to trust. The irony was almost too perfect. I called Naomi. What if I'm not objective enough for this? Honey, you've never been objective. That's your strength. You know the patterns because you lived them. But remember what you tell your clients? Facing your abusers isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your power. That night, I couldn't sleep. I found myself scrolling through old photos. Ainsley's wedding day, her smile brittle as Quentin's hand gripped her waist. Mom standing beside them, beaming with pride. The same pride she'd shown at my wedding to Stefan. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Is this really you? It's Ainsley. Gwendolyn told me about your practice. Please don't tell Mom I messaged you. I stared at the text, fingers hovering over the keys. After a moment, I deleted it without responding. The next morning, Julio caught me before my first session. Your sister's been calling all morning trying to move up the appointment. Says it's urgent. What did you tell her? That Dr. Murray is fully booked. He smiled. Still weird using your real name, by the way. Everyone's so used to your anonymous online persona. Keep the appointment as scheduled, I said. They need to face this on my terms. Later, during a consultation with a domestic violence shelter, my colleague shared something striking. You know what's interesting? Abusers often target families with a history of enabling. They can smell which mothers will choose denial over protection. The words echoed as I reviewed my mother's intake form. Under reason for visit, she'd written, family concerns, daughter making poor choices. Classic deflection. She still couldn't name the real problem. That evening I found a manila envelope in my office mail. Inside were photos. Ainsley at various social events, always with those concealing sunglasses, always with Quentin's possessive hand somewhere on her body. A note from Gwendolyn was attached. Thought you should see how your absence has affected your family. Quentin's been such a rock through all the gossip. Unlike some people who run away from their problems. I pinned the photos to my office wall, next to my degrees and certifications. A reminder of why I chose this path. Tomorrow, they would walk into my office expecting a stranger. They would find instead a mirror, one that would force them to finally see the truth about themselves, about their choices, about the cost of their precious appearances. Let them come. I was ready. Dr. Murray will see you now, Julio announced, leading my mother and sister into my office. The moment stretched like pulled taffy as recognition dawned on their faces. Mom recovered first. What is this? Some kind of trick? Please, take a seat. I kept my voice professional, steady. The voice of Dr. Murray, trauma specialist, not Danielle, abandoned daughter. We're leaving, Mom announced, grabbing Ainsley's arm. My sister winced at the contact. That's your choice, I said calmly. But you came here for help, professional help. I'm the best in the state at handling cases like yours. Ainsley pulled away from Mom, sinking into a chair. Her hands trembled as she adjusted her sunglasses. Take those off, Ainsley, I said softly. Don't you dare tell her what to do, Mom snapped. Haven't you caused enough damage to this family? Like the damage you ignored when Stefan put me in the hospital? My clinical tone cracked slightly. Or the damage you're ignoring now? Ainsley's shoulders started shaking. Slowly, she removed her sunglasses. The bruising around her left eye was expertly concealed, but I knew exactly where to look. It was an accident, she whispered. Quentin didn't mean to. Don't, Mom interrupted. We're not here about that. We're here because Ainsley's been emotional lately, making accusations. Like I was emotional? Making accusations? Mom flinched. That was different. Stefan was perfect in public, charming at family events, always ready to help with bills or favors. Sound familiar? Ainsley made a small, broken sound. Quentin says I provoke him. If I could just be better. That's exactly what Stefan used to tell me. I pulled out a file. Did you know Quentin's facing harassment charges at work? 3 women have come forward about his verbal abuse and intimidation. Lies, Mom said automatically. Disgruntled employees trying to ruin a good man's reputation. Like I was trying to ruin Stefan's? Silence filled the room. I let it stretch, watching them squirm. You know what's interesting? I continued. In my practice, I've noticed how abuse patterns repeat through generations. Children learn from watching their parents normalize violence, dismiss victims, choose reputation over safety. We never, Mom started. You told me I was weak for running. Now Ainsley's trapped in the same nightmare, and you're feeding her the same lies. Ainsley's composure cracked. He threw his phone at me, she sobbed. Because I liked someone's post without asking permission. The neighbors heard me scream, and he told them we were watching a horror movie. They believed him. Everyone always believes him. Mom went pale. Ainsley, why didn't you tell me? I did, last month when he broke my wrist. You said I probably deserved it for talking back. The words hung in the air like smoke. Mom's hands flew to her mouth. Oh God, she whispered. Oh God, what have I done? The same thing you did to me, I said. Chose the abuser's comfort over your daughter's safety. I was trying to keep the family together. No, you were trying to keep up appearances. There's a difference. Ainsley looked up at me through tears. How did you do it? How did you get out? She abandoned her family, Mom said weakly, but the conviction was gone from her voice. I saved myself, I corrected. And now I save others. Women whose families failed them, just like ours. Please, Mom reached for my hand. I pulled back. We need you, Danielle. Help us fix this. I'm not Danielle right now. I'm Dr. Murray and you're my clients. I'll refer you to excellent colleagues who can help you navigate this situation, but I can't be your daughter and your therapist. But we're family. Family doesn't shame abuse victims. Family doesn't enable abusers. Family protects each other. I stood up, signaling the end of our time. You taught me that lesson the hard way. Now it's your turn to learn it. As they left, Ainsley paused at the door. I'm sorry, she whispered, for not believing you back then. I know, I said. Now prove it by believing in yourself. The door closed behind them. I sat in my chair, hands finally allowing themselves to shake, knowing this was only the beginning. The next morning, Julio intercepted me at the clinic entrance. Your mother's been here since we opened. Won't leave without seeing you. I found her in the waiting room, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide her red-rimmed eyes. You can't just shut us out, she said, following me into my office. Not after yesterday. I can, and I will. I sat behind my desk, maintaining professional distance. I've referred you to Dr. Naomi. She's excellent. I don't want another therapist. I want my daughter. Which daughter? The one you called weak, or the one you told to be more obedient to her abusive husband? She flinched. I didn't know. About Quentin, about any of it. You didn't want to know. Just like with Stefan. Is that what this is? Revenge? This is consequences. I pulled out Ainsley's file. Your daughter has 3 documented ER visits in the past year. Fell downstairs. Kitchen accident. Sports injury. Sound familiar? Mom collapsed into a chair. Ainsley moved back home last night after our session. Quentin showed up, screaming about family loyalty. When I tried to make him leave, She touched her wrist. I finally understood what you meant about his eyes, how they change. And? I called the police. Her voice broke. Me, the same woman who told you to stop being dramatic, who chose that monster Stefan over her own child. I kept my face neutral, even as something twisted in my chest. What do you want from me, Mom? Help us, please. Show us how to be strong, like you. Strong? I laughed. You called me weak for years, told everyone I was unstable, attention-seeking. Gwendolyn still spreads rumors about my mental problems. I was wrong. She stood up, pacing. Is that what you need to hear? I was wrong and scared and so obsessed with appearances that I sacrificed my own daughters. I failed you both. Yes, you did. Then teach me to do better. You help strangers every day. Why won't you help your family? Because you're not here for help. I met her eyes. You're here for absolution. You want me to forgive you, make everything okay, so you don't have to live with what you did. The door opened. Ainsley stood there, face bare of makeup, bruises visible. She's right, Mom. Sweetheart, you should be resting. No. Ainsley's voice was stronger than I'd heard in years. We need to hear this. We did this to her, and now we're doing it again, making her responsible for fixing our mess. Mom sank back down. I just want my daughters back. You want things back to normal, I corrected. But normal was toxic. Normal was abuse. What do we do? Ainsley asked. You do the work, real work, with a therapist who isn't emotionally invested in your recovery. You face your choices, your enabling, your patterns. You learn to be strong without using me as a crutch. And then? Then you live with the consequences, just like I had to. Mom started crying. Will you ever forgive us? That's not the right question. I handed them Dr. Naomi's card. The question is, will you ever forgive yourselves? Ainsley touched her bruised face. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. Good. Dr. Naomi can recommend excellent lawyers. Will you at least keep our appointments, just to check on progress? No, but I'll make sure you get the help you need. They left together, shoulders bent but steps determined. Julio appeared with coffee. You okay? No. I took the cup. But I will be. My phone buzzed. Gwendolyn. How dare you turn them against Quentin? Against everything we stand for. I blocked her number, then opened my laptop to find 30 new client requests waiting. Women seeking help, strength, guidance. Women I could actually help because I maintained boundaries, because I turned my pain into purpose. Let Gwendolyn spread her rumors. Let the community whisper about family loyalty and forgiveness. I had built something bigger than their small-minded judgments. A sanctuary for women like me, like Ainsley, like every survivor who needed someone to finally put their safety above appearances. That was worth more than any family reunion. The story broke on a Tuesday. Local therapist exposes family abuse cover-up, screamed the headlines. Gwendolyn had finally done what she'd been threatening, gone to the press with her version of events. You need to see this, Julio said, dropping the local paper on my desk. The article painted me as a vindictive daughter, destroying good men's reputations out of spite. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Former family friends, distant relatives, all suddenly had opinions about my betrayal. Turn it off, Dr. Naomi advised during our emergency meeting. They're just proving why you were right to maintain boundaries. Ainsley's divorce filing went public, I said, along with photos of her injuries. Now everyone's choosing sides. And your mother? Still in therapy. With you. I managed a small smile. How's that going? You know I can't discuss it. She paused. But I will say your strength inspired more than just your sister. That afternoon, I had a scheduled live stream session for my online support group. Despite Julio's concerns about timing, I decided to proceed. Should we address the elephant in the room? I asked my virtual audience of hundreds. Yes, I'm the therapist from the news. Yes, those stories are about my family. And yes, I chose professional boundaries over family loyalty. The chat exploded with support messages. You helped me leave my abuser last month, one woman wrote. My parents still blame me. Seeing you stand firm gives me courage. Another. My sister's stuck with an abusive husband. I've been afraid to confront our enabling parents. Until now. Then a message that made my heart stop. This is Quentin's first wife. I've been silent for years. Not anymore. The next morning, more women came forward about Quentin, about Stefan, about other abusers protected by our community's silence. My inbox flooded with stories from daughters, sisters, wives, all trapped by the same toxic family values that had nearly destroyed me. Julio stuck his head in. Reporter from the Times wants to interview you. Says it's time to tell your side. Set it up. The interview went viral. I spoke plainly about generational trauma, about mothers teaching daughters to accept abuse, about communities choosing comfortable lies over uncomfortable truths. Some call you heartless for refusing to counsel your own family, the reporter said. What's heartless is telling abuse victims to prioritize their abuser's feelings, I replied. What's heartless is shaming women for saving themselves. That evening, I found Gwendolyn waiting by my car. You've ruined everything, she hissed. Our reputation, our social circle. You mean your power to control the narrative? I met her glare. How many women did you shame into staying with abusers? How many victims did you silence to protect your precious reputation? I protected family values. You protected abusers, and now everyone knows it. She raised her hand. I didn't flinch. Go ahead, I said calmly. Show everyone exactly who you are. She dropped her hand, deflating. You have no idea what you've started. Actually, I do. I'm finishing what you all started when you chose appearances over truth. Later that night, an anonymous letter arrived at the clinic. Dear Dr. Murray, 20 years ago, my daughter ran from her abusive husband. I chose him over her, convinced by friends like Gwendolyn that family loyalty mattered more than her safety. She died 2 years later at his hands. I've carried that guilt silently, watching other mothers make the same choices I did, until your story broke. Today, I finally reported my son-in-law to the police. Too late for my daughter, but maybe not for others. Thank you for showing us that true family loyalty means protecting victims, not abusers. A mother who learned too late. I pinned the letter to my office wall, next to my degrees and Ainsley's old photos. A reminder that sometimes the greatest act of love is refusing to enable harm. My phone lit up with a text from Ainsley. Court date set for next week. Mom's testifying against Quentin. Thought you should know. We're finally choosing truth over appearances. Like you taught us. I didn't respond, but I saved the message. Some wounds need time to heal. Some lessons take generations to learn. But change was happening, one truth at a time. And I was here to guide it, one client at a time. The conference hall buzzed with anticipation. I stood backstage, reviewing my notes for the keynote speech, when Julio appeared with a familiar envelope. Your mother dropped this off, he said. Want me to send it back? I opened it. Inside was a newspaper clipping. Quentin's sentencing, 5 to 7 years. Below it, a handwritten note. You were right, about everything. Love, Mom. Dr. Murray? The event coordinator touched my arm. They're ready for you. I walked onto the stage to face hundreds of mental health professionals, abuse survivors, and advocates. In the front row, Dr. Naomi gave me an encouraging nod. My name is Danielle, I began, and my story starts like many of yours, with a choice between truth and comfort, between facing reality and maintaining appearances. The lights were bright, but I could still make out faces in the crowd. Women clutching notebooks, men with haunted eyes, people seeking answers. Society tells us family comes first. But what happens when family enables abuse? When loyalty becomes a weapon? When keeping the peace means keeping victims silent? Movement at the back of the hall caught my eye. Ainsley slipped in, wearing a power suit instead of sunglasses. She remained standing, arms crossed, listening. We talk about breaking cycles of abuse, but first, we must break cycles of enablement, of mothers teaching daughters to shrink themselves, of communities choosing comfortable lies over uncomfortable change. My phone vibrated. A message from Gwendolyn. Your sister's testimony destroyed Quentin's life. I hope you're happy. Delete. Healing doesn't mean reconciliation, I continued. Sometimes it means walking away. Sometimes the strongest love is saying no to toxic patterns disguised as family traditions. Another message, this time from Stefan's new wife. Thank you for the warning signs article. I'm leaving tonight. But here's what my clients taught me. Strength multiplies. Every woman who escapes inspires another to run. Every survivor who speaks up shatters someone else's silence. Ainsley moved closer, step by step. My mother chose my abuser over me. Then she taught my sister the same lesson. But when that sister finally broke free, she didn't just save herself. She sparked a movement in our community. Now mothers call me asking how to support daughters leaving abuse. Now fathers question the boys will be boys mentality. Now victims know they're not alone. I saw Ainsley wipe her eyes. So no, I don't regret maintaining boundaries. I don't regret choosing professional ethics over family pressure. Because every client in my office is someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's mother. They all deserve the support my family once denied me. After the standing ovation, after the handshakes and business cards, Ainsley approached my podium. That was quite a speech, she said. Didn't expect to see you here. I'm starting counseling courses next semester. She smiled slightly. Different university, different specialty. But you inspired me. Ainsley, I'm not asking for sisterly guidance or approval. I'm finding my own way. Just thought you should know. She turned to leave, then stopped. Mom's different now. In therapy, in life. She volunteers at the domestic violence shelter, speaks at victim impact panels. She's trying. Good for her. She knows you'll never go back to how things were. We both do. But maybe we can all go forward instead. After she left, Dr. Naomi found me gathering my notes. Proud of you, she said. Though I have to ask, was it worth it? The boundaries, the backlash, the burned bridges? I showed her my phone, dozens of messages from survivors, from advocates, from women ready to break their own cycles. Look at all these bridges being built instead. That night, I added the conference program to my office wall, next to the degrees, the photos, the letters. A timeline of transformation, from victim to survivor to leader. My phone lit up one last time. A text from Mom. You've helped so many daughters. I wish I'd known how to help mine, but I'm learning now because of you. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. Some bridges burn so new ones can rise. Some wounds heal by helping others avoid them. And sometimes the greatest victory isn't in forgiveness or reconciliation, but in breaking the chains of expectation and standing firmly in your truth. That's what real strength looks like.